What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Just Swingin podcast with Symone. Today, we have another very special guest, class of 2022. Well, I guess you're not really considered class 2022 anymore. You're like freshman for Southern University.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel to have your title changed? Because, like, for the last 4 years, you've been called a class of 2022 shortstop.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on. But I mean, I'm just excited to finally get out of high school. I mean, I feel like I've been in there for forever with COVID and everything else that was been going on. So I'm just kind of excited to get out of high school and experience something new.
Yeah, so now you're a class of 2026 shortstop
hmm
for
hmm
Southern University. KJ, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, KJ, I saw you last week at the Braves game. I thought you were just at the game, like chilling, having fun. I didn't know you were accepting an award.
Yeah, I got the Brian Jordan Foundation scholarship. So I was presented with that on the field, and then I was walking to the car and I seen Miss Simone, and I couldn't be fake. You know me, I can just say what's up to everybody I know.
Did you see like a lot of people that night?
Not really. I mean, I seen a few people on the Georgia Tech football team because they were there that night too. I seen a few of them. I grew up with, but other than that, I didn't really see anybody.
So, can you explain what the Brian Jordan Foundation scholarship is and how you became a recipient?
Brian Jordan Foundation. I'm just started here. Like as a kid, he had baseball camps. So for me, he was just always kind of providing ways for young African American males like myself to be able to express our talents through baseball. And as when I was from like 7 years old up, I went to his camps and I met some of my best friends there. Tamar, Drew, RJ. I met all of them there at his camp. So we always kind of just supported his company and his brand. And a few years ago, I had a friend named D'Anthony Morrow who works for the Braves. He got his college scholarship from Mr. Jordan. So his mother was on the board for the scholarship. So she told me to apply for it, and I had the grades. And once we did an interview, and I had a great interview, and he was able to provide me with scholarship money for school. So he's always just kind of been a great person in the community that provides for people.
That's awesome. So, what are the criteria? You know, somebody might want to be a recipient in the future. Like, what's the criteria to be eligible for that scholarship?
I think it's just having a good GPA. I think it's over 2.5, having a good GPA, being accepted to a 4 year or a 2 year school. I think it's just having some community service hours and being able to do an essay. I had to do an essay to turn in just about
Oh,
myself and what I want to do in the future and stuff like that. So
okay. So, we're going to talk about that today. So, let's go back to your origin story. So, how were you first introduced to baseball?
well, my dad, he played HBCU baseball. He went to Jackson State and played baseball there.
Oh, so you going
So
to Southern? He
yeah, I'm gonna break it down. So he played at Jackson State, and that's where him and my mom met in Jackson, Mississippi. So my family's from there, and from a young age, from like 2 to 3 years old, my dad was always a high school coach. So I was always around all the big guys, and I was always around the field. So of course, as I'm around the field, people giving me gloves and stuff like that, I'm always kind of doing what they trying to do or trying to imitate what they're doing. And from there, I started playing ball. Like I was like 4 years old playing with 6 year olds. Like I skipped kind of T-ball. I went
Ooh.
straight to coach pitch. So I was always kind of, and then from there, it was just kind of, it just kept going on from there. And then when I knew I was really like, I played all three sports growing up. I played basketball and baseball. But when I really knew baseball was my sport, I went to the Elite Development Invitational, and I was like 12. Everybody else there was like 15, and I won MVP.
See, I know
So,
most of y'all be saying y'all 15, and I know some of y'all be 10, 11, 12.
so once that happened, it was just like
So
I
that's
knew
when
I
you
had
took
to
off.
play baseball. Yeah, because
Okay,
like one
so
game, go ahead.
go ahead.
I said one game we were playing, it was like Ken Griffey Jr. outside the fence, and like it was
Oh,
like
that's
Hall of
crazy.
Famers beyond the fence, and I got a hit in front of them, and I was like, and then they presented me with the award, and I was like, yeah, I can
Wait,
do
what
this.
award?
It was a glove I got. It was like a custom Rawlins glove.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So were you always, when it came to baseball, were you always playing shortstop? What other positions did you play?
I always mainly played shortstop, but I always like nobody ever. My coaches at a young age were really influential on development. Like they didn't let you kind of just play one position. Everybody played everything. So I think I played like some games I played catcher, some games I played center. I pitched, I played right field. Like I played everywhere, first base, third base, just anywhere to kind of mold my development, like to keep me athletic, stuff like that. And then when I was like 8 years old, I only hit from the right side till I was like 8. And then the coach was like, I want you to hit from the left side. So
So you still
then
switch
I
it
started doing
now?
that. Yeah, that's how I started doing that.
So you still comfortable with that? Like you'll switch hit on the college level?
Yeah. I feel like
Oh,
that's one of the main reasons I'm going to play college ball because I can switch it from both sides.
so when did you start like realizing that you were going to be a shortstop long term?
I think I started realizing that when I realized like I have the arm and the range to play short, so I'm probably not gonna play second base. And in the outfield, I have the speed, but I don't really have the length that a lot of people are looking for in the outfield for their like corner guys or their center fielder. So I never really like kind of played there long term. I always played short, and I got better hands than everybody else. So that's kind of where I started playing.
Excuse me. Let
I
alone
wasn't trying.
it. So at what point in your baseball career did you start taking it serious, like knowing it's something you could do in college and long term?
I think really for me, I think it was like 10, 11 years old. We had a team of like all of us, me, Tamar. It was a lot of good baseball players on that team, like that are going to play Division 1 baseball or got drafted. Cam Collier was on that team. Like we were all together growing up, and we always pushed each other. So when we would play against people that might be like 2 or 3 years older than us, we were always better than them. So from there, it was just kind of like a dream, but we knew we could work hard to get towards the dream because we always saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. So what was that like coming up in the class of 2022 that's moved on now, especially in Georgia, because y'all's class is like a historically great class of baseball. So what was that like for you going up against such great competition all the time?
I think sometimes like a lot of people in our class got caught up on like social media or like other people's roles. Kind of like, okay, well he's gonna go first pick in the draft, so that means I should go like 20th because I'm just as good as he is, but he got more social media followers than me. So I think a lot of people like got caught up in that instead of just playing the game and having fun. But I think our class was like one of the best talented of all time because we had people that either had to go to JUCO or didn't even get an offer out of high school, but they were good enough to go play Division 1 ball, and it was just like it was crazy. Like when you see everybody that you're growing up with, everybody's just kind of grown and gone now. It's just kind of like, wow, it's crazy how everybody grows up and goes to their own way.
Yeah, that high school phase, like when you leave high school for the first time, that is the most like weird. Like as somebody who's like I've been through a lot of stages, like middle school, high school, college, but that high school to like college, that hit different because everybody, it's
Yeah,
just the first time you realize like everybody got their own lives. Like
right. Yeah.
everybody has different
Like, oh,
paths.
we actually can't go link up and hit. You're in
Yeah,
Florida.
like everybody move on to like their
Yeah.
different worlds. Like in
Yeah.
all of our worlds used to be one world.
Right. Yeah.
So how would you describe like overall your high school and your travel baseball career and experience? Like what's your biggest takeaway? What's something that you would change about maybe travel baseball or high school baseball, the culture?
I wouldn't change anything. Like, I didn't always play for the best teams in terms of travel ball.
I don't
But
mean like changing your person, like, oh, I wish I did this instead, but like if you were like to if you could change like something about like the
the
way that
circuit,
it worked, like for the next people that come along, like
um, I think it was just. I think like from a younger age, it's getting more business. Like you could be 11 years old and you playing for a team in Texas instead of like when we was kids, we just trying to team up with whoever live around us. Like
yeah,
you know, I played in the park till I was 8 years old. So like, but now it's like it's more like a I'm playing for
business
team
so
with the
early.
scout team. Yeah. So I think it's not taking the fun out of it because it's still a game, but it's taking like the pureness,
Mm-hmm.
like kids are getting ranked at 7 years old. So you worry about your ranking at 7 instead of, like I don't know.
No, I
I
definitely
mean,
know what you mean. And that's a good word, pureness, because at the end of the day, okay, of course it turns into a business at some point, probably college now. And even in high school, like it's still like a business, like you still have goals, but
yeah,
it's still supposed to be fun. Like it's
right.
still a game. And yeah,
Again,
you're
yeah,
saying like dudes will be based in North Carolina, but playing in Texas for the summer. Like,
yeah. And you're 11 years old, so it ain't no going to the pool. You're not going to Six Flags to have that experience. Like, it's straight baseball.
yeah, because there's one kid I interviewed, he had to have an interpreter. Like, I didn't know this because I was messaging him over the phone. I didn't
Right.
know that he couldn't speak English. And then when I met him, he had like an interpreter and all that. And like he was like super nervous. I'm like, dude, you don't have to, like, if I know you like couldn't speak English, you don't have to do, the interview. But like
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
parents, like interpreters, he was like visibly nervous, and they're like, I'm like, let that kid go on to Chick-fil-A or whatever
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah.
doing after this. Like, it
Yeah.
ain't that deep. Like, it's really not
Yeah.
that deep. And they were
Yeah.
like 14. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's definitely something. So how often would you travel, like during the summertime or even sometimes during the school year, like for baseball?
I think during the school year, all of our parents were pretty strict. So if it wasn't no Atlanta tournament, or maybe the furthest we might go during the school year is like Savannah. But if it's not like in the state of Georgia, they probably weren't going for it. But during the summer, we would go to Florida pretty often. But that's pretty much as far as we went. Now, once we hit like 13, 14, that's when we started kind of going to like Arizona or Texas or something like that. But then, of course, by that age, we eighth and ninth grade, so we can kind of handle ourselves a little bit more. But at a young age, we didn't really go past Florida because it was just kind of like all the good ball comes to us. Like you go to East Cobb, we're here already. So
So who were some trainers or coaches that helped mold you during high school and even middle school?
I'm gonna start with my dad. Like my dad's probably my biggest trainer. Like he still is to this day. I could call him right now and be like, Dad, let's go swing, and he's gonna find a place for us to go hit or whatever. Some other people I say Jarrell Johnson. He's like probably one of the biggest people. He taught me how to like really hit and understand like my swing and my body and stuff like that. I would say my strength trainer, Coach Kevin. He put me on like lifting weights. Like he's the first person that ever made me lift weights. And then from there, it was my uncle Ricky Weeks. He works out with me a lot. He's also Southern Jag, so he's one of the people who was like, Southern would be a good spot for you, because people like I'm kind of underrated. I've never really been like all out there like everybody else. I kind of keep my stuff silent and I work in silence and I just pop up and I'm better than you. So I
Oh,
think those are the first few people that's like they're the people that one more person I say is Coach Gaines for the Bombers. He's one of the main people like just changed my mentality in terms of like I kind of played the game like I was having fun, but once I got older, I kind of still kept that mentality instead of realizing like it's a business. You finna be a grown man. It's people that you're gonna have to compete that's trying to take your job every day. So he kind of introduced me to that, and that's when my gameplay took a next step because I never took it on the field as for granted. I was kind of every game was kind of like a thank God for having me out here type of thing. So I think those are the main people that help my game improve a lot. And if I'm missing some people, it's not because I'm not, it's a lot of people that's helped me get to this point. So
so at what point did you start your recruitment process? Like, what point did you start seriously considering colleges?
um I'll say considering, and then I'll tell you when I got my first offer. I'll say considering like seventh, eighth grade. Like I was cleaning out my house because I'm moving into college tomorrow. But I had a list I made when I was 9 years old, like all the schools
Oh,
I wanted to go to, right? And my parents went to HBCUs, so they always told me like, it's nothing wrong with HBCU baseball. Like, there are legendary players that come from there. So I always had like those schools on my list: Jackson State, Southern, Grambling State, schools like that. I had schools, your big schools, SEC schools, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. That's not everybody's path though, and that's what my parents instilled in me. Like, hey, once you get past a certain grade, if you're not already got an offer from those schools, we're not gonna waste money on going to their camps stuff like that. We're gonna put that in training and get you better so you can just play Division I ball. So I think I started looking at the schools like seventh, eighth grade. I went to a few camps, and then I realized how it's a business, and they're looking for that one guy or those one or two guys that fit what they got going on. And then if you're not with there, then it's just a money grab. And then when I hit ninth grade, I started talking to schools. And 10th grade, I got my first offer. 10th grade, 2019 fall, and then 2020 COVID came, and like every offer I had was pretty much kind of null and void because it was like
Dang. Those
I
seniors
don't
like
know.
got an extra year and stuff.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, yeah, we might have give you half, but now we're going to decrease that to 25%. And then we don't know if you're going to play. You might want to go JUCO for a year. So then it was just kind of like, nah. And
And that was
then when
your
I came,
junior, that was your sophomore year?
that was my sophomore year. We were in the middle of the season, 2020. It was early February or early March. Um, and then when COVID came, we didn't stop playing ball until like May, June. And my parents were real unsure with how the whole COVID thing was working, so they didn't really let me play until like late June. So
Yeah.
they were just like during COVID, I got so nervous because I was like, I don't know who else is gonna offer me. I'll just commit to one of these schools that already had offered me. And
Mm-hmm.
my dad was like, nah, just wait. Like you're good enough. Once the COVID get lifted, you're gonna be able to put up your numbers. And then better yet, that fall, I met Coach Gaines and I started playing and I went to a showcase and that's when I got seen.
So who were those offers that you had before COVID?
I was talking to a Division II Anderson University, there in South Carolina. I was talking to all the HBCUs, Jackson State. I was talking to a mid-major, Tulane, and then I was talking to like a few schools around Atlanta. I mean, around Georgia. Like, um, that was about it. And then, um, once COVID came, like all the schools kind of started talking to me. Ball State, up in Ohio, Campbell, they were talking to me, and then like it was just kind of like they didn't know who they had on their team. So
Yeah,
once we came back, I was still talking to Jackson State and Southern, and then Southern just came with the most money. So
that money
my dad was
talk.
hurt. Yeah. So
So you said that your parents went to HBCUs, your uncle went to a HBCU. So were you always considering, like, was that always a top priority for you, or were they just on your radar?
I think like I never over prioritized either or. Like it was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like which one made the most fit for me. Like I knew wherever I need to go, I need a coaching staff that's gonna understand that, I'm gonna play the game the way I want to play it and I'm gonna have fun doing it. And like I'm gonna be a kid from Atlanta. Like I'm not just gonna be out here playing like a robot. Like you're gonna know I'm on the field, whether I gotta lay a bunt down or make a diving play or something like that. And a lot of coaches, they say they can coach that, but then when you actually get it, it's kind of like the Jazz Chisholm effect. Like, oh, we want a guy that's gonna bring fans to the stands, but oh, I don't like how he got his hair colored. I don't like he got dreads. I don't. So I think for me, like I knew HBCU coaches, they're used to that culture. That's what they live and die for. And of course, with the spotlight being on HBCUs now, like I always understood that. My parents took me to games from a young age, and they made me understood like it's history behind all of this. So I think from there, it was just like once Southern offered me, and I went on my visit, and I saw their Hall of Fame. And it's Hall of Famers that went there, and they haven't had the success they want to have in terms of draft prospects recently. But they told me I could bring that hype back. That's all I wanted to hear.
So why do you think that's when it comes to baseball? And I see that all the time. Like in football, they don't have like dudes don't have that kind of problem where they can't like be flamboyant. You know what I mean? And in basketball, dudes don't have this kind of problem. But it seems like there's that kind of problem in baseball. Like even if I'm like on Twitter, like I'll see a highlight and like it's a bat flip or just like a celebration dance. People be like, that's not what it's about.
Right. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
is he celebrating a
Yeah.
single? Like, why do you think that is in baseball? Like, even with like the youth stuff, I'm not even talking about just in the MLB. Like, it was one highlight. I'm not gonna name a name, but it was a high school player during summer travel ball, and like he hit a home run and he had like a little celebration, and people in the comments were like, oh, if a college coach sees that, then they're gonna boom, boom, boom. Like, what? Him celebrating? Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are still stuck in like the old style of baseball. You know, you hit a ground ball, you put your head down, you run as hard as you can to first base, and if you hit a home run, they think a home run is a mistake, and it's just kind of like I happen to hit a ball over a fence, and you're supposed to run around and act like because a lot of people back in the day, once you do something good, you're supposed to act like you didn't do it good, because that
Yeah.
makes you seem humble. Kind of like the Derek Jeter approach, like how Derek Jeter he used to get his job done and just kind of go about his business, like. But I think nowadays with social media, you trying to pop, like you trying to see who's gonna look the best. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like once you get that word out there, like, oh, who's Francisco Lindor, who's Javi Baez, like it doesn't even matter about your stats anymore. It's about who's gonna bring the most fans to the stadium. So I think a lot of people are still stuck in that like just do your job and go home type of
Yeah.
thing. Like just play ball and go home. But I think like nowadays people understand like, dude, all I gotta do is make one viral highlight and I might go up 100,000 followers. Or,
And
like
a
even
hundred
if it's not
thousand
about that,
dollars too.
right? Even if it's not about that, it's just like the more people you bring to the stands, the more the team is gonna mess with you. And
Yeah.
I think that's where the teams are shifted from that, which is why you don't see like a lot of teams like being like, they post that stuff like because that's how they get their notoriety. But I think a lot of the fans, like, we have some old school fans of baseball. Baseball is an old school game. So a lot of people don't know how to shift.
It's gonna happen one day though. So
Yeah.
what do you so you committed to Southern, but like you said, your dad was at Jackson. So is your dad and Ricky Weeks, are they siblings, or is your mom and Ricky Weeks siblings?
Neither they're not blood related, but they run a company together, Prospect Tools Baseball
Oh,
Academy.
so they just
So
bro.
yeah, yeah. But like it was like from a young age, it's just like you just call him Uncle Ricky. But
Okay.
like I have like 3 or 4 uncles that all went to Southern, and my dad went to Jackson State, and another uncle went to FAM, and they all play baseball. So it was just kind of like
I'm just
that.
trying to figure out how you didn't go to Jackson State when your parents did. Like,
Well, I'm gonna put it like this. I had good contact with the coaches, and the current head coach of Southern is Coach Chris Crenshaw. And as a kid, my dad would take me to their camps, like Jackson State's camps, like from 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and I would always like go out there and treat it like a game. Like I don't care if y'all HBC, I'm trying to get offered in 5th grade. Like that's just my. I mean, of course it wasn't gonna happen, but that was my mentality.
right.
Like that was one of my dream schools. And once Coach Crenshaw left and went to Southern, he came. We had an HBCU showcase, like a big HBCU baseball showcase in Atlanta, and it was at my high school. And I was working out there as an 8th grader. Just like they let me work out, and I was just kind of taking around balls or whatever. But I was treating it serious because I was like, I don't know who's out here. Like that's just the way I was taught. You don't know who's out here. Like you don't know who's gonna see you for the first time. So I was taking it serious. And Coach Crenshaw told my dad. My dad never told me this. He was like, if I ever get a head coach job, he's gonna be the first person I call.
Oh.
So the head coach at Southern left like that fall of 2021. Um, January 2022, we put my grandma in the hospital for COVID. She survived, so she's okay. We put her in the hospital for COVID. That night, Coach Crenshaw called me and called my dad and was like, I'm gonna make him an offer. I want you to be my shortstop.
Oh wow. See,
So
you
from
never
then,
know like where these people go end up. Like,
yeah. So for like another 2 or 3 months, I was still kind of waiting for Jackson State to offer. They never offered.
oh,
So I went on my visit to Southern, and I realized, and they told me like the history, and I seen the facilities and everything like that, and I was just like, this is where I gotta be.
they be
So,
lit at Southern now, from what
yeah,
I've heard.
yeah,
Is
I'm
Southern
excited.
right in the middle of Louisiana, or is it like on the
It's
out?
like it's not near. It's like 45 minutes from New Orleans.
My bad. I'm
It's
saying
like
Louisiana, like it's not a whole state.
yeah.
I meant New Orleans.
No, it's like 45 minutes from New Orleans, like 2 or 3 hours from Jackson. It's
Oh,
like right
okay.
in the middle. It's like right in the middle of everything, but it's 8 hours from Atlanta. So
Okay. So, what are you excited about for SWAC baseball?
I'm just excited to like SWAC baseball is a different culture than any other. It's kind of like a understood brotherhood. Like I'm excited just to get out there and show my talents and help my team win, bring a SWAC championship back to Baton Rouge. Hopefully we could get to Omaha while I'm down there. Like I want to make history. So we lost this year in the SWAC championship, and I know they're still fiending to get back out there and get back. So I think I'm just go down there, put my head down and work, and be the humble freshman that comes in and be a good teammate. So
I was actually at that game. It was 14 innings?
yeah.
It was a hot mess. But y'all gonna be right back there. I can see that. I can see y'all be right. So how do you see yourself improving their team? Like, what is the coaches, what do they see in KJ that can have an instant impact on the program? Because they were already in the championship last season. So what's like that one thing you could bring to help them get back and win?
Well, first I'm gonna speak off the field. I think I'm just bring a humble teammate that's not gonna come and bring problems or
no drama.
Not gonna come. No drama. I'm not gonna be a drama guy off the field. I'm gonna come to practice every day, be there on time, and work. And then when it comes to on the field, I'm just here to help, but I'm here to improve as well. I'm here to, I'm not coming in cocky, but I'm here to take somebody's spot. I'm trying to be on the field. Like nobody comes to watch the guy on the bench, so I'm here to be on the field, of course, just like everybody else. And I mean, I'm here to be a confident kid that's from Atlanta. Like that's how I was raised. This is my opportunity. This is my dream. I'm playing Division I baseball, so I'm just here to show my talents. Whether that's I gotta lay a bunt down to help the team win or hit a game-winning home run, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help us get back to where we need to be.
I love it. So, lastly, this kind of impromptu, but you got any NIL like ideas in mind? Is there any?
I mean,
are you even worried about that?
I mean, I'm not worried about it, but I got a few opportunities.
You need to be worried about it. It's your coins, your Lord. I don't like when people are like, I'm not worried about NIL. Why? You're not worried about money?
I mean, I just feel like if I handle business on the field, that'll take care of itself.
But no, not necessarily, because it's dudes that's especially in baseball, because y'all are much more low key. I feel like, like you could be like you were saying about like followers and whatever in high school. Like you could be like that top dude and only have 1,000 followers, and you could be like an okay dude, but like you fire on social media, you make the right TikToks, and you can have 20K. Yeah. So it don't necessarily have to. It doesn't, especially in baseball, it doesn't necessarily correlate to how good you are on the field.
Yeah, I think at Southern we have a good like program where they get you seen on social media. So I think from there, like, I think if that happens, it's supposed to take care of itself. But I don't want to be that guy that also comes in. Oh, he got all these NIL deals, but he sucks. Because then it's like, who are you? You making more money than the coach, but you can't even get on the field. And it's just like,
not more money than the coach. So do you said you had some in mind, but is there like any dream companies or whatever you would want to work with?
I've seen a lot of guys, like they got like car deals.
That'll be fine. Yeah,
because this is just like a free whip. But I know we got a lot of good food around Baton Rouge, so I think if I could get an NIL deal from one of those, then it's free food. That's easy.
Don't be getting fat now, Louisiana.
I gotta gain something. I'm a little skinny right now.
Don't be getting fat though. You could gain something, but don't be going down there and get fat.
Oh, no.
Well, KJ, I appreciate you coming on. Of course, this was a great conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Well, guys, I'm Symone. This is KJ. He's an incoming freshman shortstop for the Southern University Jaguars. Thank you guys so much for joining us.